And now comes the exciting moment. The last day of our festival is almost over, and this is the grand final of our highlight hour. Hello, welcome everybody. Great to have you joining us. My name is Astrid Frohloff, and I am joined by nobody else than Charles Landry.
Hi, Astrid.
Charles is, as you know, the festival's director, but he is also a world leader, a master of the future of cities and the creative use of resources in urban areas. Great to have you with us again. So, an inspiring festival is coming towards its end. It has been a fantastic experience for everybody, I think. All of you have been stars. We had so many fantastic speakers here, and we want to celebrate with you now in the last highlight hour. So, Charles, first question is, of course, how does it feel now that the festival is coming towards its end?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
No, I'm really relieved, but I have to thank all those speakers, you know. I mean, they put so much in, they were flexible, you know, very difficult to organize. So love to you all, wherever you are, is all I'll say for now.
Yes, that's true. It was fantastic to see your commitment to creative bureaucracy during the past 5 days, and we would like to ask you to be part of this last highlight hour. Please send us your comments. How did you like the festival? What inspired you most? What surprised you? Do you have any comments, any suggestions, what we could do better? Just send it to us through social media. We're happy to receive it. And we all want to create something like a memorable experience. Now, here come some highlights from the last 5 days of our sessions.
I mean, my father was a talker, and he always had opinions about things, and it drove me mental. So for me, the great rebellion was to actually do something.
So what we need is exactly the contrary. Enabling people to participate in collective problem solving in ways that, of course, are bringing everybody out of the comfort zone.
So what I constantly see in this role are colleagues of mine in other organizations solving the same problems, but not even being aware that they're both doing it.
I think it is irresponsible to bring people in to a process and say we want their views if we are not actually willing to invest in the visions that come out of it and put real resources behind it.
I believe creativity and creative and design means change. Do not accept status quo right off the top.
Well, let me just tell you, I love my bureaucrats.
I never think about big or small government. I just think good government, you know, just actually effective and engaged and intentional.
Coming from an artistic, creative background, especially the first year in bureaucracy was brutal, what can I say?
And I do believe that it's possible to do good. People that are in technology should really move away from this story that technology will solve everything.
Nightlife goes beyond having great lights and a great sound system. Nightlife is also about the institutions, the people, from more formal to less formal.
It's incredible the way our so-called democratic structure is set up. Bold decisions can be made with absolutely no consultation at all.
Some of the more radical camps, I think, of the future of democracy folks and communities that I'm part of are starting to question, do we actually need electoral representative democracy?
So what do we then need to do? How is it that public servants can not just serve their current masters, but properly serve future generations?
The people can be really active even in crisis management with the city and not afterwards.
So we recognize the importance of the night as a space of opportunity, as a space to meet others.
You don't try and reinvent the city as something else. Take the bones of the city, which were already good, and build on those.
It's very important to do exactly what your conference is about, which is to rethink bureaucracies and ask why is it that that word bureaucratic is often a negative word, thinking about creative or sexy bureaucracies.
Clearly, the capacity of the creative economy and so on to do storytelling, to develop narratives is precisely crucial now today in thinking through how we create a world that we all roughly like.
Good, better bureaucracy. So this is a good term we have to keep. Sexy bureaucracy, we just learned this. So these were some bright minds we have heard during our sessions this week. And what can you expect now in this grand final highlight hour? We want to review, of course, and see what is the outcome of this year's festival. We want to discuss about this, and we will get some great contributions by Irma Ranieri, by Geoff Mulgen and Christian Basin. And they will reflect with Charles Landry on creativity and administration and dare a resume. And what we will not miss, of course, is our award ceremony. We will honor 3 bureaucrats for their outstanding engagement for the public sector. So, Charles, the festival 2020, what was thrilling you most?
Well, I think one of the things that thrilled me, that you could be here, there and everywhere. You know, I watched the thing from the studio, I watched it in my hotel, I watched it in a cafe and so on. And what that reminded me of, that we really have to see the world through the eyes of the young. You know, older people must put themselves into their mindscape to really appreciate what there's a different perception of the world. Mm-hmm. And they also want a different organizational type and style. One that understands the networked world, not always in the office, more fluidity and so on. So career paths need to be as flexible as well, career jumping and so on. So old styles of leadership I don't think really work, especially if you want good, young, talented people. So my slogan for today is... No. Keep the best and reinvent the rest.
Oh, yes, that sounds good. I keep it in mind.
Okay.
Well, somebody was watching us here and somebody's joining us. I want to welcome online Stefanie Rupp. She is Senior Manager, PD, Berater der öffentlichen Hand. Hello, nice to have you with us.
Hi, good afternoon.
How did you enjoy the festival, Mrs. Rupp?
It's been a fantastic festival week for me. I found the variety truly amazing. There's been a lot on cross-cutting topics, on specific policy areas, about federal, state, city levels. So everything kind of came together in this festival. And I also found the festival very tangible. It was very pragmatic, with lots of lessons learned, practical experiences. And from a PD perspective, we also made lots of new contacts internationally, which is great because our day-to-day life is often involving the German public authorities. So it's great to look outside the box for a while. So it's been truly fantastic.
Yeah, okay. Well, it seems you can't get enough. PD is offering some more sessions this afternoon. What's coming up?
Yeah, there are 2 more sessions this afternoon, although unfortunately it's the final day today. There's a session at 2:15 reviewing lessons learned from kind of PD and other perspectives. So trying to work out after this great week, how can we transport what we've learned into our future daily activities and projects. So that's at 2:15, and at 3:15 there is a session on artificial intelligence. Our colleagues have done a questionnaire this week with various public authorities and present the results and have some thoughts about how to apply more artificial intelligence in public policy scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is coming up. Charles, let's have a quick look back again. What was surprising for you? What was amazing?
Well, I think one of the things we have to look at the figures, because I've just had some figures brought through to me, and these figures are, I think they're interesting anyway. Look, I think by the end of the day, we will have had 16,000 unique visitors, which is quite a lot. And what's very interesting is 2,000 of those were under 24. And if you add it up, 7,000 under 34. So this is really coming back to my point about youth. We really need to look at things through the eyes of younger people. 2 more facts. I don't want to overload you with facts, my friends. But there were viewers from 87 countries, so that's pretty good.
87 countries, wow.
Yeah, let's just say that, 87.
Almost half of the world.
Absolutely. And just over half of those were from Germany, and roughly equal men and women. And of course, tons of social media stuff and so on. So quite interesting, I think.
Great. And we thank you for joining us and being part of this festival. Well, Charles, in the afternoon there is another session coming up, the OECD Government Aftershock.
That's right. And what that's about is really they've been monitoring since the COVID crisis all the innovations across the world. They've been looking at all the online events, etc., etc. And they are going to summarize all of that, but also look forward to their big event in November 27th, 28th, which is trying to bring all that together, all those lessons. So that's what that is about.
Mm-hmm. Well, every highlight hour we presented to you results from a very interesting survey Margie Kors did from Australia, the first global survey on creativity in administration. And today we will get part number 5. Let's see what Margie brought today.
Hello, today on our final day we're talking about what people do outside of work and their thoughts on creativity generally. So we asked, are you doing any of these things outside of your job? We're really interested in the many facets and capabilities that people bring to organisations. And what we find is that often people in organisations are very unaware of the talents, effectively, of people that they work with. So we think it could add a lot if people knew more about this. So 44% say that they're an activist or a volunteer. 28% say that they're artists. 16% are influencers or writers. 15% are entrepreneurs and 14% are makers. In terms of other, that was an area people also shared the things that they did that weren't on the list. Being a student was a strong theme, being a teacher, as well as being a well-being practitioner and so on. Other thoughts on creativity. We've got hundreds of responses to the question, and so this is a very brief cherry picking of some that have been contributed. One person said we're in the golden age of the auditor. Another person said we're in the middle levels are the most risk averse. I realise that there's a truth to this topic, but it's also not true. So that's for another day for discussion. We need to balance or find a balance between being cautious and creative. Because government can't fail, it makes it very difficult to be creative. And then in terms of more, I guess, constructive or positive or contributions, firstly, we've got to consult with people. We've got to be able to say, I've got an idea, and for that to be welcomed within our organisations. There's a lot of great ideas out there already, and somebody said that teachers have an awful lot of ideas that are never expressed or shared with others through the system. We've got to see what the impediments are in being shared. And so that's just a real snapshot of what is about, a few hundred comments, and we'll need to process all of them. But where is all this work going to go? Well, this has been a journey across the headline figures. We've got a lot more analysis to do. We'll be drawing the insights together into a report as soon as we can and making that available on the Creative Bureaucracy website. And hopefully will be emailed to all of those of you who are on the mailing list. I want to say thank you to everybody who's contributed again to the survey or has helped to distribute it. And I hope that you find the initial insights interesting. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Creative Bureaucracy Festival for their support. Goodbye.
So that was Margie Kors. Thank you so much. Charles, what are you taking with you from the survey after all?
Well, I've just looked at the whole survey and so on, and I think there are probably 5 or so points that I'm taking. 97% say organisations should be creative and imaginative. Only 20% said their organisation was. And 75% said they could be more and offer more. And the main issues were working across silos. Over half of people said that is the main problem. 80% said they wanted more flexibility in every broad sense. Many said we want to add more value. The main obstacles, they said, and we're back to youth and all of that, is hierarchy. Old systems don't work in the same way, management culture and so on, and in general, more freedom. So all of these percentages were dramatically high. So these are messages we really have to take seriously.
Yeah, and we have to draw conclusions out of this. And this we want to discuss now, because there are so many ideas in the festival, so many bright and brilliant thoughts, and we would like to reflect on this now for a moment. And Charles would like to discuss this with Stefanie Rupp, who is joining us online. And we will also get contributions by Christian Basin, Erna Ranieri, and Geoff Malgin, great experts, lots of experience. Charles, so what are your conclusions? What knowledges are you taking from the festival, maybe also including the survey you just mentioned?
Well, I'm taking a lot of knowledge is how you create a festival, so let's put that to one box. The other knowledge I'm taking through is there are a series of words, many of them began with T: trust, transparency, training, rethought. Others started with H: humble leadership, hidden resource that's stuck there somewhere. Others started with the letter E: empowering, empathy, emotional intelligence. You can only run an organization, we all know that, if the people who are sort of in charge have emotional intelligence. So those are some of the things that I've taken away.
Mrs. Rupp, what are your findings from the festival?
I think from my perspective, it's about working out what you can't change in the future and take that as a given. You know, for example, the German bureaucracy is very hierarchical. Is that going to change in the next year? No, but may it change in the long term? Yes. So it's about looking for things you can change and you can address and starting with those. And I think for me, the other thing is finding like-minded people. You know, we've seen in this festival from the many thousands attendees and participants that there are people who want to change something, who want to be more innovative and creative. And I think it's about seeking those out proactively and building small kind of like-minded teams of people who want to instill change. And I think the other thing I've learned, it's change has to come both from the bottom and the top. So there has to be buy-in from the top. Otherwise, those who do the day-to-day work just will get frustrated. And even if you have managed to recruit them in the first place, they may leave again or get frustrated. But at the same time, you need those who do the day-to-day work to come up with ideas, because they know the actual policy work and the challenges best from their daily work. So those would be my kind of key points. From a PD perspective, where we advise different public authorities in projects all the time, our goal is to try and enable public authorities in the medium term to actually do all these things themselves. So it's not about just sending some consultants in to draw up some pretty slides and then leave again. It's about trying to transfer knowledge and skills by working with these authorities over a number of months to instill that change. Because I think we've seen from the pandemic that, there's certain things you can change pretty quickly if there's enough pressure, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. There's more to that, right? There's not just the citizen-facing services. There's also all the processes that run in the background, and we need to address those in the medium to long term to actually have a modern administration that's set for the future, not just for another pandemic, but also for a globally changing world.
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Yeah, no, thanks, Stephanie. That's great points. I mean, two things I want to pick up. One is this thing about like-minded people. And I think if we recognize we're not alone, it sort of gives us confidence to sort of be more courageous and to have a Mutanfall. That will probably be one issue I'd like to mention. The other is really the link, which we haven't discussed enough in the festival, and we should in next time round, is the link between politics, policy, the administrators and all of that, and making it happen practice. And if you have a really horrible politician, as we know, we won't mention any names, then you can hardly do anything. If you have a very good, open-minded politician who enables and empowers all the staff, the system, the structure, you're completely into a different world, and that makes it easier for things to happen.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, Charles, at this point we can pass on to the intervention from Christian Bison, who has been a supporter of this festival. Since the very beginning, he was CEO of MindLab, the Danish innovation agency, perhaps one of the first. He is now CEO of the Danish Design Center. And we asked him earlier, how do you embed systematic change? What are you taking forward? And this is his answer.
Hello, my name is Christian Bison. I'm the CEO of the Danish Design Center. Happy to share this send-off message with all of you. In my career, including when I was leading the Danish government's innovation team, MindLab, I've learned a lot about what it takes to drive creativity and innovation in government. First and foremost, it's all about people. It's about citizens, the people we serve, and we aim to provide services and policies for that transform their lives. It's about the people who every single day go to work and work in the public service and engage and interact with citizens in all kinds of ways. And it's about the people who lead, the people who are in charge, who are responsible, both those in administration and, of course, the political leaders that we have elected. And across all of that, the ability to co-design, to co-create, to engage and involve, to create more openness, transparency, and ultimately to generate trust, almost like a kind of a currency that is the lifeblood of a society, is truly critical. So I do hope you'll go out, be creative, work in innovative ways, involve and engage people, be open and transparent, and generate the results, the changes, and the trust we all need so much. Best of luck to all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Christian Bation. And Charles, trust and transparency, your keywords, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lovely send-off message for all of us. I mean, the thing about all of these things is they're quite invisible. They're in the texture. They're like the nervous system of an organization. And that's why it's always quite difficult to sort of talk about that, because it's obviously also a cultural thing. But I think one of the main points for me is this notion of being shapers, makers, co-creators of the decisions that affect your own life. And they're much more likely to be stable than those decisions, and more resilient and sustainable, all those words.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Rupp, what do you think about what Christian said?
He's absolutely right. People are the core essence, and this isn't always easy in public administrations, which, on the positive side, are very reliable, are consistent, but they're very rules-based. So trying to kind of get people to bend these rules a little bit is the main challenge. And what Christian said about leadership and communicating and taking people with you is the key thing. For me, a lot of it is about communication, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you think about change a lot, you can't assume that the other people you work with think about that all the time. So you need to really explain, why are you trying to change something? What's the end goal everybody benefits from? So it's about working out, what's the end goal? How does the citizen benefit? How does maybe the employee of the public authority benefit from a change? So, as public servants, most of us are not very marketing oriented, but I think we actually all need to do a bit of marketing if we want to really change things, so everybody sees something in it for them.
Charles,
yeah, no, I'm pleased Stephanie's just mentioned that, because throughout the week, communication, there have been so many sessions where people have said how you communicate is important. I mentioned once earlier that in Britain we have the Plain English Society, which sort of takes rules and puts them in ordinary language. And really seeing the world from a 360-degree perspective through the eyes of the other seems to me incredibly important. And therefore it is marketing, but that role needs to be seen as much higher for everybody. That's all I'd say on that one. one.
Mm-hmm. We also asked Irma Ranieri from Australia about how to embed systematic change. She was a Commissioner for Public Reform and is now Commissioner for Public Sector Employment for South Australia and Adelaide. Irma plays an important role in leading transformational change throughout the public sector, and here comes her message.
Hi, I'm Irma Ranieri. I'm from Adelaide, South Australia. My interest in how to make our public service more effective, inclusive, agile and imaginative goes back for more than a decade. For instance, I ran our state's Office for Public Sector Renewal, and there one of our major projects was called Change at South Australia. Within this program we did many things, such as one called the 90-Day Project, where we encouraged our civil servants and others to come up with solutions for some difficult problems that were to be solved in 90 days, and that helped generate real energy and focus. I'm now Commissioner for Public Sector Employment, whose aim is to collaborate across all our divisions to help a world-leading, pioneering, innovative, responsive and inclusive public sector that benefits everyone more easily said than done. Within this work, we've had several years been involved in our Creative Bureaucracy program, which is why I would have loved to be there with you personally. So what are the lessons I've learned in trying to embed a different public service culture? I would highlight 3 points. Value your staff. Really, really listen to them. Don't take them for granted. And they will trust that you have learned something from them. Innovation and reinvention starts here. Understand your employees have so much potential that is often hidden, so find ways to unleash the potential. This is a leader's primary job. Give your civil servants opportunities to experiment and provide budget for it. And be okay if things fail, since they definitely want to succeed. And those lessons help us to do things better next time. Stay safe, stay connected, and above all, look after each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irma. That was highly interesting. Mrs. Frohloff, one thing Irma mentioned was the importance of making failures and that it's okay, and to give space for experiments. Does this correspond with your experiences as well?
Absolutely. Having worked in the UK in the civil service for well over a decade and then returning to Germany, I've certainly experienced some of the differences in risk culture, where UK civil servants are a little bit less risk averse than the Germans. So from my perspective, yes. And I think what we as a PD always try to do in our projects is focusing on solutions, not on problems. I think in Germany, we have this wonderful word called Denkverbot, which means prohibition to think in English. And I think, it's about overcoming that Denkverbot by saying, okay, let's actually ignore all the laws that are there. Yes, I know they're difficult, but what would we do if these didn't exist? So it's trying to work out what solutions could be, given an ideal environment without restrictions, and then working backwards and working out, can I either remove a restriction so I can do what I want to do, or I can find a way of actually adhering to the restriction, but still deliver my policy solution. So yes, absolutely.
Charles, Denkverbot, another German word you learned.
I love it. Auftraggeberfähigkeiten was my other one, which I love.
Good memory.
Anyway, my slogan on that one, and thanks Stephanie for all that, is really don't let the rules define the vision, let the vision define the rules. And really that is so important. I mean, in many things we've been doing, it's been trying to have that idea, and as you know, many countries go about it in that way. And that implies often, obviously, transdisciplinary working and so on.
Okay. Well, we've got another statement by the former CEO of Nesta and now Professor of Collective Intelligence at UCL London, Geoff Mulgan. Nesta plays an important role in the UK in setting up innovative processes, and here comes his statement.
Hi there, my name is Geoff Mulgan. I'm Professor at University College in London, and I've spent the last 35 years working in national governments, local governments, European Commission, and also as a bottom-up activist, social entrepreneur, troublemaker of all kinds. And the key lessons I guess I've learned about what helps whole systems to change is 2 or 3 things which you can't avoid. One is you've got to learn to mobilize, orchestrate all the resources of intelligence which may be out there. Some of them will be data and evidence and research, some in the heads of the people involved. And this is key to future governance doing this well. Secondly, there's always a relational side to change. There will be a network of people, maybe 4 or 5, maybe a few hundred, who work together inside and outside the system to drive, prod, nudge the system. And always individually, they underestimate their power, but combine them together and they can be very powerful. And then finally, habits of empathy. Understanding how things look to the people on the other side who perhaps haven't been through the same journey as you is so important to everything from climate change to reforming welfare systems. And the biggest mistakes of government are usually failures of empathy. And if you can do all of those and then institutionalize them and turn them into a bureaucratic form where it's part of someone's jobs, then there's actually no reason you can't transform even the most apparently complex and intractable situations and systems.
So that was Jeff Mulgan. Thank you so much for this statement. Stephanie, Jeff was surprisingly optimistic about everything. I mean, does he have a good reason to be optimist?
I think so. I think having worked with PD for a while now and seen, a lot of projects in practice, we've seen really good example where the advice that Jeff has been taken on board. So for example, we've seen a lot more strategy work in Germany taking place in ministries, in all sorts of agencies where you really ask, who are all the different stakeholders I need to work with? What are all the different goals and objectives? What are the assumptions I have to make to achieve my goals? What are the framework conditions? So I think there has been a lot more cross-cutting work, in terms of, for example, some of the sessions in the last week have focused on, the German IT Planning Council, which promotes federal kind of cross-cutting projects and things like that. So in terms of actually, the relational side and actually trying to take advantage of all the resources and expertise that is there, I think that is happening. Is it fully institutionalized yet? No, that takes longer. But I think we've seen a lot of good examples. And I think if we use these and actually celebrate these successes and promote them and use them to learn from them and apply them to other areas where, maybe these kind of strategy processes haven't taken place yet, I think we're on a good way.
Are you that confident as well, Charles?
Look, the whole creative city, creative bureaucracy idea is all about the glass half full approach. Of course I could go, oh my God. I'd much prefer to see what the opportunities are. And if you do that, I feel that gives you some energy, because the implementation of things always sort of energy leaks out. So you might as well start off with quite a bit of energy and enthusiasm in order to go through things. And I think really what we're doing is in a positive way, and Jeff's message, who by the way was also head of the strategy unit for one of our prime ministers, is this thing about breaking boundaries in a positive way, not just to make a big mess of things, but breaking boundaries between who has the knowledge. Not all the knowledge is here or there, it's a collective knowledge, as he says. And that thing about the networked world, the inside outside, we really have to come to terms, to see the opportunities of what it means to be in a networked world, which again gives us the possibility to bring things together that never would have been conceivable. You crowdsource ideas, you do lots of other things. In the end, of course, it's about the routine and getting it done. We all know that, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's it, right. One last question, Mrs. Rupp. Do you have a tough recommendation for all those who are working hard in order to bring creativity to the administration?
So I think number one is doing more like what you're doing with this festival. I think it's absolutely brilliant to try and bring together people worldwide. It really motivates, I think, all of us. And I really hope we can find some ways of staying in contact during the year until the next festival. So, I know some of my PD colleagues have made some new contacts internationally, and I hope we can find a kind of forum or something, to keep that up. Like, say, maybe there could be some monthly chats on some of these topics that came up this week, something to make it more permanent and more lasting. That would be brilliant from my point of view. And I think it's one other thing I would also say is especially in a country like Germany, sometimes we have to focus on the how, not on the what. Sometimes the what is prescribed by law. It's about how something has to be done, but the how is often not prescribed by law. And that's, I think, where we have a lot of freedom to think of creative ways of doing something, where actually it's worth looking at that strategic process of, if I want to do X, who is best placed to deliver it, and what's the best way of delivering it? The answer is not always just digitalizing something. It's more fundamental than that. It's working out, where do I really need smart humans to do something? Where can a machine do something? Where can I outsource something? So it's much broader than that, and trying to encourage all the public authorities to undergo that thinking rather than stay in their kind of, some of these silos we've heard about this week. That will be a brilliant way forward.
Yes, thank you. Well, I thought it was a great point to say we must have the festival lasting. How can we do this, Charles?
We're going to make it happen. I don't know how, but we'll make it happen because we've got great people involved. We'll try and get new partners to support us and so on, or existing partners as well. And that's what we'll try and do. And we'll try to obviously learn from what went well and what went less well.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much at this point. Stefanie Rupp, thank you for joining us for this discussion. Have a nice afternoon.
See you soon somewhere.
Yes.
Bye.
So,
Bye.
One of the highlights of the festival every year is the Creative Bureaucracy Award ceremony. And this goes like this. So every year the Creative Bureaucracy Festival is giving an award to bureaucrats who are performing in an outstanding manner and do their job in a very innovative way. And well, this year we have 3 bureaucrats, of course. You mentioned them earlier, Charles. I think now it's the time to really go forward.
Go forward, yes. I mean, the first person we're awarding is Rudy Dix, and he's head of the Office of the President's Management Officer, I'm not quite sure the exact title, of Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa. And, I met him last year, and he's got such a sense of humour and sort of positiveness about him. But I think what we're going to hear now, which I think is important, is from someone who really knows him well, who will give him a sort of lovely German word, laudatio, with sort of praise and things like that. And Kate herself is one of the sort of advisors. She advises on things like employment and stuff like that. So she knows the game. So let's see if we can go over to Kate and see what she has to say. Kate Phillips.
Mm-hmm. Hello, I'm Kate Phillip. I'm a development strategist, currently supporting the presidency in South Africa in the design of an employment stimulus. I've known Rudy Dix for many years in many different capacities. And part of what Rudy brings to the public service is his experience as an activist, as a student activist and a labor activist. This means a number of things. Firstly, it means that Rudy is unambiguously there to make a difference, and he does. Rudy also has huge experience with negotiation, and he's negotiated from different sides of the table at different times in his career. And what that means is that in even difficult meetings, when Rudy enters the room, he usually knows most of the people around the table, and it means those meetings start with warm greetings and laughter, which is an ingredient he typically brings. He's got great experience in brokering solutions, and he's solutions-oriented. All of these are huge strengths in his current role as head of the Project Management Office in the private office of the President. His role there is as an enabler, as a fixer, as an unblocker, using that position in the center of government, using those levers to make things happen. Whether it's bringing together social partners in a job summit or getting a special social grant across the line in the context of the COVID crisis. Rudy multitasks and he makes things happen. He seems to have endless energy, doesn't seem to run out of it. These are all reasons why Rudy is a fabulous candidate for an award as a creative bureaucrat. He deeply deserves it. Congratulations, Rudy.
Thank you so much, Kate Phillips, and of course, congratulations, Rudy Dix. And as we are virtually, it was easy for Charles Landry to quickly jump over to Rudy Dix and hand over the prize personally.
Wow, thanks, Charles. Thanks. This is just absolutely amazing. I really didn't expect this. I was in the conference last year. I didn't expect that I would get one this year. Really, I mean, thank you so much, and thanks for. This is amazing. I have a great team also behind me, so that's also counts a lot. So thank you so much to the festival organizers.
There you are. Well, here comes the award. There it is, and it says Rudy Dix for
wow, that's amazing. Thanks, Charles.
You'll get this by post. So
wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a virtual hug. I mean, in reality, I would have gone like that to you. That's good. All right, thanks, Rudy.
That was Rudy Dix. Yeah, that was really nice and lovely. Charles, you did it very well. Well, let's see who is our next award winner. And we should also mention all prizes are equal. There is no range, no 1, 2nd, 3rd. So who's our next winner?
Our next winner is 2 women who've done something amazing. They're called Robin Scott and Lisa Witter. And they started an organization called Apolitical, which helps, public administrators in 170 countries. They've got a network that is nearly reaching 100,000. Probably it reached 100,000 today. And they, beyond training, helping out in many, many ways. The obvious things like exchanging best practices and so on. But how about getting someone who knows these 2 fab people to say a few words? And it's back to our dear friend, Christian Bason.
Hello, my name is Christian Bason and I'm the CEO of the Danish Design Center. I've been so impressed by how Apolitical has grown as an organization from a standing start to global impact, reaching public sector, civil servants, leaders, managers, and administrators across the world so fast. Apolitical has become an amazing resource for all of us who work to create more public value in our daily lives, giving us access to each other and to case examples that inspires us to do even better tomorrow. Thank you so much, Robin and Lisa and the entire team at Apolitical, for a great job. Well done.
Christian Bason, thank you so much. And now let's have a look at the winners. Here they are. Charles is handing over the prize to Lisa and Robin.
Well, I've got 2 really very interesting people here, and they deserve the Creative Bureaucracy Award. They co-founded, as you know, Apolitical, which is a pretty amazing organization.
Well, thank you so much. We're absolutely thrilled at Apolitical to get this award, and we're thrilled about the existence of the Creative Bureaucracy Award, because one of the things we care about so deeply is celebrating more of what's working in government. And that celebration is needed more than ever in 2020 when democracy is in a bit of trouble. So couldn't be happier, and would only just add that I feel more celebration needs to happen of the actual public servants working in government. Often the entrepreneurs get the limelight, but there's so many unsung heroes who don't.
Yeah, and I big thank you to the Creative Bureaucracy Festival. To really put creative bureaucracy and festivals together is really extraordinary. And on behalf of Robin and myself, it's really dedicated to what is now 90,000 members from 170 countries that use our platform, exchange, find creativity, find inspiration with each other. And they're just the tip of the iceberg. And when Robin and I started Apolitical, people said, oh, creative bureaucrats, or oh, innovative bureaucrats. Ha, ha, ha. How many does it take to change a light bulb? And I'll tell you, they are out there in groves, and we really see it and appreciate it during this time of COVID. So on behalf of them, thank you. And our entire team in Berlin and London, really, really thank you.
Well, now comes the big moment. The big moment. And Robin.
Drum roll.
There you are, Robin. Great. And there you are, Lisa.
Look at
Fabulous. That's great. So I hope to see you all soon in person, somewhere together, all three of us, with a beautiful glass of wine.
Sounds great.
Bye then.
High five to that.
Bye, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
More creative bureaucrats. Bye.
Bye.
So again, congratulations, Lisa Witter and Robin Scott. Well, what we should mention, if you would like to know more about their work, you can look up again her session. Lisa Witter had a talk with Charles this morning at 9 a.m. And by the way, Rudy Dix had a talk as well at 9:30 this morning. You can look this up next week. We have everything again. You can review everything, all the other sessions as well. So Charles, who's our next winner?
Well, this is a person that our German friends really know about. A really significant person. It's Professor Dr. Christian Drosten, Institute of Virology at the Charité. Now, he's obviously a public servant because he's one of the leading virologists in a public institution, and he's done fabulous work there, and he's helped shape policy, etc. But what he's public in the best sense, because he's also found his way into the public out there, telling us about the pandemic and so on. But the main thing people tell me about is this transparency, this honesty, this willingness to say, we didn't quite get that right. He's a human being, you know, it's not, you get the idea. So I think the person who's going to give the laudatio here is, I don't want to call him his boss, but it's the governing Lord Mayor of Berlin, Michael Müller.
Mm-hmm.
Lieber Herr Professor Drosten, herzlichen Glückwunsch. Ich freue mich sehr, dass Sie diesen Festival Award gewonnen haben, und ich glaube auch zu Recht. Sie sind eines der bekanntesten Gesichter der Wissenschaftsstadt und der Gesundheitsstadt Berlin, und Sie haben Ihre Expertise in den letzten Monaten immer wieder eingebracht. Sie haben ja weltweit beraten, aber ganz besonders uns auch in Berlin zur Seite gestanden und Ihre Positionen auch immer wieder natürlich weiterentwickelt, je nach wissenschaftlicher Erkenntnis. Sie haben uns beraten, und Sie haben, glaube ich, auch vielen Berlinerinnen und Berlinern eine wichtige Hilfestellung gegeben. Ein großes Dankeschön dafür, aber auch ein Dankeschön dafür, wie Sie kommuniziert haben. Ich glaube, dass das sehr, sehr wichtig war, dass Sie mit uns gemeinsam, mit der Politik kommuniziert haben, dass Sie auf den unterschiedlichsten Kanälen präsent waren und präsent sind und dass Sie damit auch immer wieder gezeigt haben, was Wissenschaft kann und wie sehr Wissenschaft gerade auch in dieser Situation, in der wir uns befinden, doch nötig ist und welche Bedeutung sie hat. Also, es ist toll, dass wir Sie an unserer Seite haben in dieser Wissenschafts- und Gesundheitsmetropole Berlin. Ich danke Ihnen für die Zusammenarbeit. Ich danke Ihnen dafür, was Sie alles geleistet haben in den letzten Monaten, und wünsche Ihnen für die Zukunft alles Gute. Nochmal herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Ja. Okay, that was Michael Müller, the
that was a
Berlin.
Beautiful German, which our English people should get the drift of. How about learning German, guys? No, but one of the things he said essentially is you've really been incredibly helpful. You've been very open. You've connected with us politicians in a way that was, you know, really making us understand what's going on. He also said that science is really important, and, you know, all of those things that give us the evidence of what's going on. So that's the rough idea of what he said.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was our award ceremony. Now, Charles, let's have a quick look on what we have got through social media. In the last days, we've got so many comments and questions and support and everything. It was really nice, and thank you so much for sending us all of this. Let's have a look at a little summary of what we've got here.
It's very important to do exactly what your conference is about, which is to rethink bureaucracies and ask why is it that that word bureaucratic is often a negative word, thinking about creative or sexy bureaucracies.
The next festival is again. So one thing we all have learned during the festival, I think, is creativity and bureaucracy are going along very well.
They're good friends.
They can be friends, yes, you're right. We want to thank you for being part of our festival community. Take the chance and review all our sessions on our homepage again. And of course, we hope to see you again next year. And here comes the surprise. We can tell you the date already. So please save the date, September 27th to October 1st. Our next festival will take place September 27th until October 1st. It's going to be a blended experience, I guess, Charles, right? Like
I mean, we're going to do it in this. Yes, we're going to hopefully have people. You know, we might have a couple of hundred there physically, and then a big screens, and also just mixing it up a bit. Yeah, and that'll get us more access to many more people.
Yeah,
you know?
that's an advantage as well.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
Don't forget to register for our newsletter if you want to get more information and keep being updated all the time. I also want to mention that in the afternoon today we have some more last panels and sessions. On stage 2 we will reflect this year's festival. We have a quick discussion and we will get feedback and critics. On stage 1, the session Charles mentioned earlier, the OECD government after shock. This is another panel. And yes, Charles, of course, what we have to do now is to thank not only all the speakers who did an incredible job, and everybody was really amazed about what came out of it. We also want to thank all our partners, 92 partners who incredibly supported the festival. We can mention, of course, PD, who was our festival partner, Land Berlin, Bundesinnenministerium, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, BMW Foundation, Herbert Quandt. And yes, and of course, what I want to do, Charles, is to thank you.
Oh, you're a star. I want to thank you.
No, come on. We were so happy to have you here, and we want to thank you for putting so much effort and so much creativity into this festival. It was a pleasure being with you. Thanks.
No, well, same for me. And I think also the whole team, you know, behind us there are 15 people doing complex things and so on. So every one of them we must thank. And obviously, you know, Teresa, our festival director as well.
Yeah. So we have to say goodbye to all participants now, all viewers. We wish you good luck. Stay creative as you are. And don't forget, nothing changes if nothing changes. Let's keep it in mind. We hope to see you again next year at the festival. We say goodbye and auf Wiedersehen from Berlin. And now what you can see is one last clip from our recruitment tips from the Land Berlin, and afterwards you still have the chance to chat on the job chat and get more information about your career at the administration in Berlin. So we're gonna say goodbye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.